Session for the morning. First, it is my honor to welcome His Excellency Gitanas Nauseda, President of Lithuania, to provide opening remarks. The United States applauds Lithuania's values-based foreign policy in standing up for democracy in Belarus and around the world.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is the nature of democracy to be always in crisis. Democracy is built on the idea of competition, and competition breeds conflicts. Where democracies excel is their ability to neutralize those conflicts before they reach dangerous levels. To create stability, unity, and prosperity out of the turbulent pluralist politics is a serious challenge. My country, Lithuania, has experienced it all, emerging from unlawful foreign occupation and totalitarian control of the Soviet Union more than 3 decades ago. To build democratic governance and the rule of law, we relied heavily on our strong passion for freedom. Up to this day, we are grateful to all those who help us. We also remain firm believers in democracy. In our view, no alternatives can provide the same protection for human dignity as well as necessary stimuli for social, economic, and cultural growth. To be sure, no democracy is perfect, and neither is our own. We continue to confront social exclusion, cases of intolerance and injustice. But democracy gives us the best tools to prevail over these challenges. A democratic society relying on pluralism, strong representative institutions, and free media. Historically, these advantages formed the basis for the global success story. Democracy was the standard to which most nations aspired. The world seemed to be on the march to a more prosperous and peaceful future. However, now we are starting to hear an alternative narrative, the one proclaiming that freedom, human rights, and diversity can be sacrificed when people are provided with some degree of prosperity and predictability. This narrative is not new. We have heard it before, mixed with old revolutionary slogans. What confronts us now, though, is the blunt power politics of rising authoritarianism. Yesterday's forces once again stir dangerous sentiments, and their common goal is to provoke a broad revolt against democracy and Democrats. We are forced to recollect that democracy is not a given. It may be more fragile than we think. One of the first to fall is usually the freedom of expression. Whenever independent media is being silenced and critics are threatened by repressions, the time comes to defend democracy. For the authoritarians, free speech is a weakness of democratic societies. For authoritarian regimes to prevail, they need the democratic community to be disoriented and unable to act. They want our values to be forgotten and our political will to be broken. We cannot allow this to happen. That is why Lithuania stands ready to support democracy whenever it is threatened or violated. We stand with Ukraine in the face of Russia's continued aggression. We support the democratic forces of Belarus fighting the brutal regime. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to use this opportunity to express my greatest respect to the Belarusian civil society leader present among us today, Svetlana Tsikhanovskaya. I am convinced that the way to end the current crisis in Belarus is for the regime to free all political prisoners and launch an inclusive domestic political dialogue with civil society and the opposition. This dialogue should lead to new elections that must be free and fair. Recent hybrid attacks on the European Union external border put a heavy burden on irregular migrants brought by the Belarusian regime. By treating human beings as political tools, Mr. Lukashenko hopes to force the democratic West to step back, normalize the relations, and settle on the new normal. All this would not be possible without consent of Russia. However, we should be extremely careful not to legitimize Mr. Lukashenko. Any concessions would only help his regime encourage new waves of illegal migration and betray the brave Belarusian people. Therefore, it is important not to weaken sanctions unless our core demands are met. Mass protests have already transformed a large part of the Belarusian society and stimulated the formation of stronger national identity. It all comes back to the issue of strategic patience. The European Union has possibilities to extend pressure on the Belarusian regime, to support grassroots activism both outside and within Belarus, and to work towards future democratic transition. This would be highly advantageous to the people of Belarus. It would also bring new hope to every nation working hard to maintain and protect democratic institutions. Lithuania is ready to work with this to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, President.